What's going on? So, wanted to talk about a couple videos I saw online about teachers and them leaving the education industry. It seems like a lot of teachers were fed up with the students and, not really having power to do much when the students are acting a certain way or they're always on their phones or texting, and just acting kind of out of line a lot of the time. When I was going through school, there really wasn't the smartphone, so you didn't have the ability to. There were maybe flip phones, but not everyone had those, and they were pretty basic. Now, there's AirPods and smartphones, and people can do stuff online pretty much whenever they want. And the teachers don't really have the power to discipline them in any way. Plus, I think it's not like it's a high paying job. If you think about education, maybe you have to go to college. I mean, I'm assuming you have to go to college and get a normal degree. And then a lot of people go for like a master's education degree after just getting a 3 or 4 year degree from a university. And at the end of it, I don't know. I don't know what a teacher makes. I'm assuming it's probably around 60,000 starting, maybe a little bit higher depending on where you live. So it's kind of below the cost of living. So you have to go to school, you have to get all these degrees, you have to get certified, and then you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know what like a starting salary is for a teacher. I'm assuming it might be even less than 60,000 depending on where you're located, but it's probably right around 60 to 80,000 depending on where you are. Could be 100,000 if you're in a higher cost of living area. I don't know. I think it's just within that range. My mom was a teacher. I obviously being around teachers, I don't think most of them were making a ton of money. I think if they had been there for 20 plus years, then they had, obviously I think there's a pension involved, and I think you get seniority and you have higher pay maybe. But starting out as a teacher, if you live in a higher cost of living area, it's going to be tough to make it on 50, 60, even 70,000. Which is a lot of the videos I've seen, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, right? Basically saying, they can't afford to pay everything and then save any money as a teacher. And yet you're spending all your time teaching. You're in a classroom 8 to 10 hours a day. You have to make plans, you have to correct assignments and give feedback. And you're making, 60, 70,000. So maybe you have enough to kind of exist, but you're not really going to save much money if you're just surviving on a teacher salary. So, and then, you add in all the stress of just dealing with kids, dealing with people that have different, the parents I know is a big issue. Everyone's parents has different ideas on how you should be teaching their kids and how you should be disciplining them or not disciplining them. And maybe you get 1 year, you get a good group of kids. The next year you get kind of a tough group of kids where there's a lot of people that don't get along and people that aren't paying attention, and you have to, tell them to stop being on their phone or to, stop talking or doing annoying things or saying rude things to other kids. So it's an incredibly tough job. I sensed that even when I was in school. I was like, geez, this seems like kind of a tough job to deal with all the kids, because all the kids are different. They all have different parents. They all have different living situations. They all have different things going on. They're 13 to 17 years old. They're going through changes in their own life, and the teacher has to deal with all that, which can be difficult and stressful. So a lot of these videos, people are saying, "Oh, I'm just done with teaching. Like I want to go do something else. It's stressful. I don't have any power to kind of control the kids that are in my class, and then I don't make enough money." So they're just kind of walking away from it or giving up. And I think that's a problem. I mean, you want to have people that want to teach and be there and are good teachers. But if the pay is low, and the stress is high, I don't think there's going to be a lot of quality people that end up in that position. Um, and really, I think you see that like most the education system is really dominated by females. They're much more likely to get into a teaching position, especially like in elementary or middle school or even high school, because they like it. They enjoy being around kids. They enjoy interacting with people, and that's really what a teacher does pretty much all the time, giving feedback, teaching kids things, and they get fulfillment out of that. And so a lot of guys probably are going away from education because it doesn't pay enough. Even if they did like it, there's just not enough money in it. And so that's part of the problem. Like if you want to get more men involved in teaching and just better teachers in general, you probably have to offer them more money. I think that happens in like the private schools, but public schools, there's probably not going to be, unless the government just allows the schools to pay the teachers more, you're probably going to end up with higher turnover, probably more women teachers. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just think there should probably be more of a balance between male teachers and female teachers. And if you have an imbalance, it's like, well, why is that happening? Why are men not wanting to get into teaching? Probably because it doesn't pay enough. I think men would be willing to do it if they could see that it was a good career and it was worth it. But if the pay is low and the stress is high, men are probably going to go to a job. They're willing to put up with stress, I think, but it has to be, worth it financially. They'll work a terrible job if the pay is good. But if the pay is bad and the stress is high, I think men are probably going to look for a different field to go into. They'll work out in the sun and, roofing houses in the summer or doing construction, paving roads when it's 100 degrees outside if the pay is, decent. But if the work is hard, and you have to interact with kids and at the end of it, you're not getting much pay, it's probably going to continue to be female dominated. And, now if as a teacher, you just don't have much power and you can't really control your kids or discipline them in any way. And I don't mean discipline them in a bad way. I just mean if people are always on their phone and they're not paying attention and you don't have any power to really do anything, you're going to get stressed out and you're going to say like, geez, this is so not worth it. Like I can't do anything with these kids. They're not paying attention. They don't respect the authority of my position and this is so stressful and I'm not making any money. So you guys let me know what you think. If you're a teacher, I think the salary is probably right around 60 to 80,000. It might be less, it might be more depending on where you are, but considering where you're living, that's not really a lot of money if you live in a higher cost of living area. But let me know if you guys have, if you're still teaching, if you like it, or if you've kind of ruled it out of being a possibility for you based on the economic reality of it. So let me know. You can leave a comment and we'll see you on the next one.